I want to say to my mon cher ami from Canada that here in Dominica, the men are under serious threat. The women are taking over in Dominica, you know, all over. But we recognize that we need to do more in terms of gender-based violence and protection of the children across our country and indeed the region. I want to, first of all, recognize the Honorable Francine Barron, the Minister for Foreign Affairs and CARICOM Affairs, and the Chairperson of the CREAD Transition Team Committee, my other Cabinet colleagues, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Honorable Members of Parliament, Your Excellency Steve Farrell, Secretary to the Cabinet, Your Excellency Edward Lambert, Principal Advisor to the Prime Minister and Chair of this ceremony, distinguished members of the head table, Mrs. Rosamond Edwards, the Financial Secretary, other permanent secretaries, Professor Avinash Prasad, Special Economic Advisor to the Prime Minister, and other panelists, representatives of the donor agencies and community, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Maria brought us to the fork in the road. We could have chosen to continue along the road we were familiar with. It would have been easier, clearer, cheaper, maybe. But however much some may tempt you with the prospect, you cannot travel down both roads. You have to choose. Dominicans chose to be citizens of the first climate resilient nation. We made that choice knowing that this was not the easy road. In an age when so many demand quick fixes and flashy gimmicks, this is an uncompromising choice of the people of Dominica. Talk of climate resilience is cheap and easy. The work, less so. We have to shun putting up structures that will collapse again. But that means taking longer to do what needs to be done. It means doing less with more money, which is why, despite the urgency of climate change, the reality is that this is still largely an untrodden path. It remains the undiscovered country. But we are serious at finding it. And we call upon you to join us in our quest, because we know that we will need new maps and new compasses. And we know we will need a fully integrated plan cutting across all of government, economy, and society, which is one of the reasons why we need the Climate Resilience Execution Agency of Dominica, CREAD, a new agency whose remit lies across traditional silos. We also know that we must think big and small, fast and slow. We must break down our journey into manageable stages, into a well-coordinated, carefully sequenced set of projects, annual plans, and realistic 6-month targets. And that is another reason why we need CREAD. And we're aware that time is not on our side. Sea levels continue to rise. Temperatures are mounting, and another hurricane season beckons. As long as there are Dominicans who remain at risk from a climate disaster, our task is unfinished and progress must be faster. Good execution and prompt execution is as important as wise strategy. We need a climate war room an unforgiving focus, a relentless sense of urgency. We need a tight working relationship with our developing partners, united in common resolve to deliver quickly. And that is another reason why we need a dedicated team at CREAD. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope today's discussions show that we understand the seriousness of our endeavors, that we have already embarked upon the journey, and that we know our success depends on good strategy, good execution, and above all, constant learning and listening. Today, we sign the establishment of CREAD and the start of the transition from inception to a fully fledged statutory body within 3 months. Chairing CREAD's Transition Committee is the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Francine Barron. She is ably supported by the Secretary to the Cabinet, Ambassador Steve Farrell, Financial Secretary, Mrs. Rosamond Edwards, Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Gloria Joseph, Ambassador Edward Lambert, and Special Economic Advisor, Professor Avinash Prasad. I expect nothing but the best from that team. Today, we show our commitment to moving as fast as we can while trying to get it right, to get the legislation right, to get the governance right, the plans right, and the leadership right. These are the essential tasks of the transition. Today, we move. Later this evening, Professor Prasad, the principal architect of CREAD, will meet with a team of senior public officials and external experts to start looking for that leadership team. We're looking for the best from our region and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, we thank you for coming today. We know that rooms and flights are hard to secure at this time, but we could not mark this important milestone along our journey without you. We are honored by your presence. You have stood by us, and that will never be forgotten. You have made friends for life here in Dominica. Our choice may be tough, but it has been made a little more bearable, a little less lonely by each one of you. And I want to pause here and to say to you, especially Dominican public, that we must demonstrate our gratitude to the citizens of all of these countries who have stood with us in this very difficult time. And I will focus on some of our friends who are on the head table. The government of the United Kingdom has been exceptional, and I dare say exceptional, with its support to Dominica in this very difficult time. And this support has received the fullest backing of the Prime Minister and the government, and indeed the entire Parliament of the United Kingdom. So we really want to express our profound gratitude to the government and people of the United Kingdom. And you also have been very helpful in putting the framework of CREAD together by providing us with technical support. That has been so helpful so far. The government of Canada. I spoke to the Prime Minister of Canada days after the hurricane, expressing his solidarity to the government and people of Dominica. And Canada has continued to demonstrate its long friendship with Dominica, especially at very trying times. And we express publicly again our profound gratitude to the government and people of the great nation of Canada. The UN and its systems, especially the UNDP. The UNDP now is a household name in Dominica. Everybody knows the acronym UNDP in Dominica. And it is not by reading books or watching television. It is because of the tangible expression of support we've received from the UNDP and the UN system with a visit to Dominica by the Secretary General of the United Nations himself. So we want to place on record our gratitude. The World Bank whom we've had a very long-standing relationship with. We've shared some words in the public domain from time to time. But I can say to you that when I visited the headquarters in Washington, D.C., the extreme care and attention that was placed by the entire leadership and staff of the World Bank was beyond comprehension. From the president down to the vice president, down to the lowest officer in the ranks of the World Bank, they dedicated serious attention to Dominica and assisted in putting together a very comprehensive proposal to aid us in Dominica. And we're very touched by this level of care and solidarity from everyone in the World Bank. And of course, the World Bank has demonstrated, contrary to public notion, it has demonstrated it can move quick, very fast. And they have certainly moved very, very fast. And they are proving many of us wrong in this circumstance. And we want to publicly recognize the World Bank. So I really wanted to thank you. And also Professor Avinash, who came to Dominica literally a couple of days after the hurricane, and who has traveled with me from city to city, putting our case forward for assistance for Dominica. And we are eternally grateful to you, Professor, for your steadfast commitment to our cause here in Dominica. All of these governments and institutions who are on the head table here today have gone beyond the call of duty to assist us. They do not owe us anything, but they have demonstrated their friendship and solidarity to our people, and we must be grateful, all of us must be grateful to them for a level of support. But of course, it is people who give of themselves, not necessarily institutions. And so I also want to specially recognize some individuals. Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, Colleen Wainwright, who is here with us, David Osborne, Daniel Aguirre, Mesgonau Asifa, Benoit Laramie, Stephen O'Malley, and Tassin Sahid, and Colin Francis. We say a special thank you to you. We salute you for your personal efforts in assisting us thus far. So my dear friends, brothers and sisters, humanity's finest moments are often born from deep tragedies. We honor the tragedy, who and what was lost. Here today, we also honor what was found. And we need to pursue this mission. I say to you, our partners, and I also reiterate to the citizens and residents of this country, that we do not have any other choice but to pursue that vision and that mission. Climate change is real, and we have to take all of the necessary human actions to first mitigate against it, but also to be more resilient in the event that we're visited by another such tragedy. And we must commit ourselves to this ideal to ensure that we have a safer Dominica, and I dare say a safer region for the succeeding generations. We're doing this for our children and grandchildren, and we owe it to them as the current generations. As the Prime Minister of Dominica, I give and I reiterate my firmest solidarity and commitment to this cause, because I believe it is the only and right path to pursue at this time. May God bless our country. Thank you very much.